How's it going, guys? This is Luke from Coffee House, and today what I wanted to do is do a little bit of an overview of a grinder that we sell a lot of, a grinder that finds itself right in the middle of from a price point perspective, right in the middle of a wide variety of grinders, and talk a little bit about the pros, cons, and everything I know about this essentially. We're going to get into it, a little more in depth as things move along. We do sell a lot of these, like I mentioned, and they're really good grinders. So let's just kind of jump in, discuss why and what this thing is and how I think it fits into the category. All right, so the Mahlkonig X54 here, first kind of introduction into the home space for them. They have a wide variety of grinders that are involved in, commercial production, from grinding hundreds and hundreds of pounds of coffee to cafe level stuff. You've seen the Peaks for years, you've seen the all famous EK43, and you've seen some new ones. The E65S is a new coffee grinder that they've recently released in the last couple of years. And this essentially mimics the footprint of that grinder. But obviously it's optimized for home. It's about half the size, so a little bit larger than some of the other home grinders you'll see. But ultimately, the uniformity is nice. There is this kind of smaller hopper, reminiscent also of the E65S. And I like it. I like the look of it. I think it tends to kind of blend in with a wide variety of already modern coffee amenities. But yeah, I think it looks good. I think the form is nice. And although it is not metal, this is all a plastic construction here, I think it does a really good job with, cleanliness. And, it's not smudging or marking up like some of those matte black coffee grinders do, like the Ode, for example, which had that problem, especially with the white one. This, they just offer in black and chrome right now. I've seen white ones up for sale here and there. Don't know where those came from. But yeah, so, everyone tends to order the black. I don't think I've ever sold a chrome one. Now, especially with the Linea Mini not being available in stainless steel anymore, which we'll save that for another video. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do first is talk about kind of what we have in the box here, go through a little bit of the functions here, talk about things that I like, things that I don't like, and where I think this fits in the market. So first things first, this is what you get in the box. You get the grinder itself, you get the hopper, this little removable grounds tray. You get two inserts. You get obviously the portafilter insert, and then you also get a what I would call a dummy insert, which prevents you from using the button here. So there's a button here, and this prevents you from doing that. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And then you also get a grounds cup, which is nice. It's a nice double wall cup with their branding on it. I like it, yeah. So, and it says sus on the bottom. So anyways, also I didn't think that this was adjustable at the start. But if you just unscrew that one screw there, it does adjust. When we go over to here, what we're met with is a nice little screen, digital screen. And you can switch between 4 presets on there. And then there's also a Wi-Fi mode, which we'll talk about in a second. There's also a start-stop button, and this button, which is reminiscent of the E65, this is how you adjust all of your settings. So you just hold it down, and then it'll let you do each individual digit just like that, and you're good to go. On the side here, this button right here is for putting these actual inserts in. So you'll push that down and it'll snap into place. Let me get that guy in there. Okay, so we've got that one in there. So this is how that goes. You can slap your portafilter in here and let this go to town, or you can hit the button start stop. You can go ahead and remove that. And so yeah, there is this button here. If we take this button and just kind of cover it, you gotta kind of, I'd probably do this when it's off, actually. Kind of just shimmy it on there. Let's see here. It's a tight fit, which is nice, I suppose. Maybe it's upside down. There it is. So anyways, so now, you are unable to press that button, which is nice, especially if you are doing, grounds like that. It just sits and catches everything like that. Famously, Mahlkonigs are not messy, which is nice, especially, I guess, the EK, you can call a little messy because it's like a large volume batch grinder. But this is nice. It'll kind of pour right in. Their static retention is really low, which I enjoy with these grinders as well. So with the Wi-Fi mode, I really like the app, actually. It's easy to connect to, which is one. 2, there's a dial-in mode, which helps people who are just kind of getting into the coffee experience, especially from a manual perspective, really kind of get to where they need to go. And then also there are, obviously you can set your settings and everything like that, but there's also statistics, which is really cool. So it'll tell you, like your lifetime shots, all of that data. And for me, being a really data-driven person, especially when it comes to coffee equipment, that's really something I like to see. It helps me evaluate the metrics of when I need to do service. It helps me evaluate, what I'm putting through, when burrs are due, all of those things. And I really, really enjoy that part of the experience. I think everybody should learn from that. And, if you're gonna do something with Wi-Fi, if you really have to, that's a good thing to have, or, actual like countable metrics. So that's everything on this grinder, except for one thing that we haven't talked about is the, the grinds adjustment here. So this is where we get into a little bit of kind of why I think this is controversial, I guess, is they claim that this is good for both espresso and for pour-overs, filter coffee. And if you know me, you've probably heard me talk about it. It's that I don't think there's a grinder that really is a jack of all trades. I think, the idea that there can be one that does it all is kind of a myth, especially at the sub 1,000 price point. Even the EK, which is $3,000, that is not going to do the best of both worlds. It's the best filter grinder, but grinding for espresso, it's just not built for dosing espresso. But this is an espresso doser. So it makes me curious about it. I am a little skeptical of how it's going to be able to perform both. However, I have pulled good shots of espresso on this. Keep in mind, this is just an overview video. I just want to help everybody kind of understand why we picked this and, where this sits in the marketplace. But yeah, we're gonna have another long-term review where I can really talk about how this pairs up to something like a niche, for example, which is like an espresso-specific home grinder. That's that. I'm curious to see how it's going to perform in both settings. They make it very obvious, especially in the app, that you can use it for both. So if they say so, we're going to put it to the test. So ultimately, with the E65S, everybody has loved those for such a long time. So when this came out, the X54, I think people were really excited to see it, but those who were enthusiastic about the home market did not really know about this, did not really become familiar with large commercial machines. And so this, I think there weren't a lot of people talking about it at the time it came out. And I still don't think it's, a very highly appreciated grinder when compared to, Weber grinders like the Key or all of those, home grinders. There's so many, and there's such a diverse marketplace, and it's extremely competitive. So when something like this comes into the playing field, I think that it's going to be interesting because you're going to have your commercial guys who know this and stand behind this, and I might be one of them depending on the test, but you're also going to have your home users who are going to see a lot of faults with this based off of like the more curated, catered to home market grinders. I'm interested to get involved in this, and I'm really interested to kind of like see what we can pull from this compared to all the other grinders that are out there. That said, I think there's a good place for this being right in the 750 range. Being in the sub 1,000 range for espresso grinders is a good place to be. There are grinders more expensive than this that I've had more problems with. There are grinders less expensive than this than I've had, positives with. But I think it's found itself in a good point. I'm interested to see where it goes from here. That said, I appreciate you guys tuning in for this overview video. I didn't want to stick to a script. I didn't really want to kind of talk about the technical aspects of anything like this. I just wanted to provide a little bit of an overview, like, hey, this is what this is. These are my kind of, this is my apparent feedback, like right off the bat, and that's what we did. So I appreciate you, again, tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Let's Talk Cheese tagged us in an Instagram post.